And we're live and we are harmonizing
We're
with
harmonizing, folks.
the clock.
To start off the top of the show today, Mike and I are going to do an all a cappella version of all of your favorite Christmas songs.
We just lost every single one of our 0 listeners.
I'm going to be the guy who does the bass, so I'm just going to go.
Oh yeah, you take the easy way out. That's really fair.
That's not easy. You go without bass, you got nothing.
Yeah,
it's the backbeat of the whole song.
Yeah, and then I have to remember all these songs that I don't even know.
We should have prepared much more for this if we were going to do it.
Yeah, it's probably better that we have our ideas before we start the show.
Yeah, I know, but you know what, Mike? Then I have to prepare, and I won't do it. I can't. I don't have the time. Honestly, who has the time?
It's true. It's true. That's the constant struggle.
Well, good morning, and welcome to Content. Mike, you got a festive sweater on, man. I mean, somewhere Mr. Rogers is smiling, and I hope you intend it that way, and I think that you do.
And Mr. T.
That's a good point.
Mr. Rogers and Mr. T.
Now, a couple of great misters. Some of the finest misters I've ever heard of.
Yeah, man. That's a good one.
When they come out with a podcast, I'll be listening. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, salute to the misters today. Morning, Navi.
Morning, Navi.
Ooh, I like those
this
fonts.
New cool font. Wow,
like
StreamYard, stepping it up.
Yeah.
We don't do advertising on Content, but we do use StreamYard, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, and we could use a couple free months.
I mean, that wouldn't be terrible,
It wouldn't be so bad.
So to our faithful listeners, Mike Shok Gomez sporting a Mohawk here at the end of 2020.
Homemade.
Mike, let me be the first to say it looks phenomenal. I saw a picture of you on the internet with it, and I said, he looks so cool. What was the impetus for this Mohawk?
Erica was just giving me the haircut, my quarantine haircut, and right. I've come to like it. So it's my Pema Chodron hairstyle.
It looks good.
And then I was like, hey, I wonder how I'd look with a Mohawk just for fun. So we intended to just do it, look at it, maybe take a picture, laugh about it, and then just shave it off. But then while we did it, we were just like, let's leave it on for Christmas. Like, yeah, the kids will get a kick out of it. Like, all right, let's do it. And here it is, it's hanging around.
Now, here we are 2 days post-Christmas, and you're still rocking it, man.
Yeah,
I think it looks great, to be honest.
I'll take
it. So just briefly, Mike, I hope you had a nice holiday. I know that I did. I was with family upstate. Navi says my quarantine haircut is bald. Well, here's the deal, man. It doesn't matter because nobody's going anywhere anyway. There's no fancy soirees any of us have to go to.
It's true.
So shit, we might as well be bald.
Michael Hawk Gomez. Joanna, that's
From
good.
DJ Shok to DJ Hawk, folks.
Thanks, man.
Ooh, hey, a hawk is a formidable animal, Mike. That's a heck of a spirit animal to try and channel something for 2021. I think Joanna just gave you a big gift there.
Michael Hawk Gomez.
Was the holiday all right, Mike? Let me ask you this: did it feel like the holiday? Did you have some sense of a normal holiday?
Yeah, I think there was. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this year.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, right before we came on the show, I think I was saying that it's just such a weird year because you're staying still, but I do feel like I made a ton of progress, like spiritually, and then I was also thinking that in some weird way, I feel like I know that this is like a weird thing to say, but in some strange way that we needed to stop because everything was going so fast and everything was so crazy. But then that's, and I made the joke of, I have another mug here,
brand new mug, folks.
Man of many mugs. This one was gifted by my son to me and my wife, and it actually heats itself up. So no
Come
more
on.
microwaving
No
or
more.
anything. It just heats itself up.
Stays hot.
Stays hot. So, and the thing is with this year, I don't know what mug to put this year in. I got all kinds of mugs, and it's like it's so. Oh, I don't know how to describe it because there's things I'm thankful for, and there's so many things that I'm frustrated about,
Yeah.
and it's just so weird because there's so much. I hate to say this because it's a tragic year, but there is blessing in it, for me at least, and I'm lucky
Yeah.
for that. You know, and
Me
I
too.
have to admit it, or I wouldn't be truthful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it's just there's a lot of mess and difficulty and tragedy and I mean God from everything. Obviously, I don't even
Yeah.
have to recount it. Everyone watching knows what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's so weird to me. I don't know what to do with it, Derek. What should and I don't know what to do with it. And by the way, how was your holiday? I think you went to spend it with family, right?
I did. I went upstate, so we didn't do the don't come at me, CNN, okay? We didn't do the extended family thing. All right. I saw no
Blitz.
aunts or
I
uncles.
got
I
Blitzer
saw
on
no
on
grandmas.
speed dial.
Wolf. Wolf Blitzer desperately wants to be on the show. I won't have him. I'm not interested in what he has to say
I'm
or
helping
whatever
him
his freaky beard
police
looks like.
everyone. I'm on his team.
But I was with my sister and my brother-in-law and niece and nephew and my girlfriend and the parents. And,
Nice.
it felt as much like a Christmas as anything else felt normal during
Yeah, yeah.
this year, which is to say, like, we did the best we could, you know.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
I did like it. I was prefer. I mean, staying home on Christmas. That's that would be strange for me. I'll say. So and it's an interesting point, Mike. And honestly, this is going back to one of our earliest episodes. We were talking about, well, if because I agree with you that there are benefits to having the world just kind of like, if not stop, slow down for a little while,
Hmm.
and whether you're working from home or whatever. And again, it's difficult to talk about this stuff because that so many people either were sick or out of work or
Yeah,
continue to be. The
that's
numbers
the
are higher than
hardest
they
part
were in
about it.
March.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to say, well, I benefited from some of this. Um, However, one of the things we talked about in one of our earliest episodes back in April, say, was like, well, something has to come from all of this. And that my big fear was that eventually people start going back to work, whatever we get the vaccine, seems like
Hmm.
it's coming. And then it's just instantly we like completely forget that this year happened and everything's just back to normal. Nobody says anything about it ever. And in
Yeah,
2023, we're like, yeah, remember that thing? Whatever.
I remember that. Yeah.
That if some significant chunk of people had time to, if not pull the brake on their lives, at least shift down. I'm not a car guy, folks, but slow down a little bit. And again, consider how they feel about things, which we generally don't have time to do.
Hmm.
That some kind of shift can occur in one's life, and a shift that we choose to do, as opposed to constantly being a lot of times oppressed by our external circumstances, even if
Yeah.
it's waking up before you want to.
That's a weird one too, because and that continues the theme of what I was saying about with the mugs. It's like you 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 were stopped. Like this year, we were stopped. We were put still, so it feels like we lost control, but really we kind of got some control. It's
Yeah.
so weird.
Well, Mike, where we have found paradox, we have found truth.
Gosh, man. It's so weird. And I
And
think that's why it's so hard to put into something.
I mean, yeah, in
It's
terms
weird.
of, right, like, this is like a meme now, but like, what do you do with your New Year's resolutions for 2020? Did you go on that worldwide trip you wanted to take?
I feel you know what?
Something's telling me you did.
I feel so guilty because I did really good on mine. I did. They were listen.
Well,
If
good
I
for
was
you,
to
man.
go,
That's shit.
if I was to go read them, I'm going. Can I real quick? Because I have a picture of them.
If you would like to, Mike,
Not
please
to read
regale
them
me.
all, but just generally speaking, none of them are about trips or anything. So I lucked out.
That's good.
So
You didn't have any travel
no, it
related,
was all about internal
any,
stuff.
yeah, lots of having
Yeah,
big parties. You didn't have any of those goals.
no, it just was like be grateful in the present, hopeful about the future, that kind of stuff. Make being content an intentional goal. This is before the podcast.
Hey, now.
Create a space in my life for things and people I love. Completely accept people for who they are. Be kind to myself. Journal at this I didn't do. Journal at least half of the 365 days of the year. Deeply listen to people close to me until I hear what their words fail to communicate. Hold my space. Read more. Learn. This is where I really did well. Read more, learn more, and watch more documentaries. And then here's where content comes in because this is before.
Mm-hmm.
Do something completely new with my complete commitment and passion.
Mike, oh,
Damn it, I did it.
that's pretty great, man.
And I
I know
just
this
looked
means
at them
nothing,
this
but I'm proud of
morning.
you, man.
I just looked at them this morning. But
You can hang your hat on that, my friend.
they were very quarantine friendly.
You got lucky
I
there, I
just
gotta
got
say.
lucky. Yeah, all these had no idea this was going to happen, but they were very quarantine. So here for you this year coming, there's some
Yes.
quarantine friendly
That's right.
things you can do for 2021.
That's right.
So
Highly
just
advisable.
all
Just
stuff that you don't need to go anywhere for. You don't need to meet up with anyone. This is just stuff you can do with yourself.
scratch off that trip to Brazil
Yeah. It
and fill it in with something like that.
it's just you, and you.
Pop a bottle for
For
Mike G.
Mike
He did
G.
it, folks. He
Yeah.
did it.
And I did the Mohawk. I didn't even put that in there.
I know. That was like a bonus.
It's just
Well,
extra.
let me say that based off that, Mike, one of the things that I think was brought into focus this year was that, and this is always true, but it was definitely true this year, that because the universe is an enormous supercomputer of which we are a tiny grain of sand, we have control over so few things. Um, and, but so like we can't control, again, brought into focus this year, we can't control the pandemic and what the government's response is to it and how the countries are fighting over what they should do and what the prices are of the blah blah blah. But we can control our own relationship to the world, and all of your goals that you did manage to accomplish had to do with you personally and what was in your purview on a day-to-day basis, and even your, as we say, like habitual thought patterns. Those are the things we can control. And again, that was brought even more into focus this year when we at times could not leave the house.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that's always kind of the truth. Whether we're out and about and gallivanting through the world, home is where the heart is, my friend. The great wisdom is always simple.
Yeah.
And what we can control is our own mind, our own heart. And we can impact the world through that. Yeah, highly advisable, especially given that it seems like we're going to have to be inside for at least this winter, to gear the New Year's resolutions toward things that are in your control, which are the most important things anyhow, and also the only things that you can do.
Yeah, that you can have any
You
type
can
of say
actually
in.
do.
These, especially now.
Well, God, let me tell you a quick story, Mike, that I found very encouraging and very silly. You ever have a moment where you really laugh at yourself?
Oh, that's a good combo.
That's the best. So this happened to me, I want to say it was like last Tuesday. Christmas on Friday, still in New York on Tuesday. And I was in Atlantic Terminal, transferring subways to get my butt home. And I was just walking down the steps, and I had the thought that, and this sounds like so egotistical. It sounds like very simple, like, of course. But I just finally had the thought, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get enlightened in this lifetime. And the second I
Oh,
had
this is
that
great.
thought, I just started laughing. I just bursted out laughing. And like
It's
one of the
good.
great things about New York City is you'll absolutely never be the most weird person on any street ever. So you can just be whatever you want to be.
That's the truth.
Coupled with like I had my mask, so you really can't
No
you
one will
can't
bother you
tell.
though. You can do anything you want, and they'll
I
just walk
was
right by you.
exactly. I was like doubled over laughing because this is so egotistical and so silly that I'm like, here we are, we're doing the show. I'm chasing these spiritual teachings. I'm tapping into ultimate truth. And I honestly, and I never like looked at it this way, but I truly, so ignorant. I truly thought like, I don't know, man.
Go, go, go! This is great, Derek.
I might like, I've made progress, and like, I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm a Buddha, but like, I might get to a place where I'm like, oh, good morning, Root.
Good morning, Root.
I might, really be able to. This could be the one. I don't know what incarnation I'm in. Clearly I've got some handle on some wisdom principles.
So, what popped your balloon?
My entire life, everything that's I've ever thought.
But you need all that hot air to fill up the balloon, Derek.
It's true, yeah,
Or you
and
can't
that's
pop it.
actually absolutely true.
You can't pop it
And
without hot air.
it made me think of like what and it wasn't like it just made me laugh so much, and it was like also a tremendous relief.
That's what I was feeling too. Yeah.
Like, oh, thank God I don't have to get enlightened this time around because it seems like so much work. Because where I'm at now is like, holy Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny, man. That's a really good one. That was great. Thank you for sharing that.
And I guess it's kind of in line with Pema Chodron's hopelessness,
Mhm.
that her hopelessness is actually filled with hope, but it is a realistic, rooted in the now hope,
Yeah. She's a
and
tricky
not
one.
this like looking 10,000 feet in the future, being like, I'm going to climb this enormous mountain and be the greatest man that ever lived.
Yeah, yeah. Which is what we're all doing, right?
That's the thing, and it really felt like a tremendous relief. I was like, you know what? Why don't I just do the best I can this time around? And then maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Maybe I'll figure that out when I'm a rhino or something. I'll leave that to next time around. This time around, I'm just gonna try and do the best I can, man.
That's a funny thought, right? Like, let's say you keep doing all this human stuff, and then finally you come back as a rhino, and you got it all, figured it all out. You're like you're gallivanting through somewhere in Africa, and you're just running around, and you're like, I got it.
And you're a rhino meditating underneath the Bodhi tree. Joanna says, I don't know. Sounds more like humility to me. Now, Joanna, don't blow up my ego now. Don't.
Damn it, Derek, be proud of your humility. Cut it out.
So that was a tremendous little moment I had with myself this week, and it made me feel much better, I must say. And quite a conclusion to a very bizarre year.
Yeah, it sounds like a good release.
It felt amazing, man. It really
Yeah,
did. I've
it
really
does.
have felt lighter ever since. Yeah, stop trying to get enlightened. Hot tip from
Hot
today's
tip.
episode.
Hot tip. Stop trying to find the complete answer to everything.
Well, Mike, given that we're doing as the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
2020, the greatest year in anyone's life ever. Everything this year was totally perfect and absolutely fine.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to do a little kind of year in review of content and run through some of the bigger principles that we have either read about, discussed, or dare I say invented here on content. Because I think this is good to do at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
just a big 10,000-foot view of the big old things we discussed. The first of which, Mike, and I'm going to take it to the first episode, and it's interesting how this has been reinforced, rediscovered. Always encouraging when Mike and I discuss something, and then we find out Socrates discussed it also. It's really, really a pat on the back, because that guy, as far as I know,
Yeah,
pretty smart.
not bad for a lunchtime conversation.
Not bad. And you know where I'm going with this, Mike, but can you tell me a little bit about what the selfish selflessness is? Because it seems like a paradox.
Yeah, it sure does. But you know, the selfish selflessness is something that I've come to live by and accept, and I think it's something important. So when you're selfish, by taking care of yourself, by looking inward, by looking at yourself, you know, trying to be content, automatically that selfishness converts to selflessness. Because if you're kind to yourself, you're going to be kind to everybody else. If you understand yourself and how screwed up you are, you won't be so judgmental to look at someone else and say, hey, man, that guy's all screwed up. So you kind of go from being this sort of um, person who's just constantly looking outside. You start looking inside, and it's weird because that actually makes you really in tune and in line with everything. It's sort of the selfish selflessness is actually a pretty damn good path to oneness.
And I would add to that like it kind of has to do with how we are like spiritually fed, or what are truly positive experiences. I think when a person gets later in life, when they look back on their life, it's rare that they say like, man, when I got that Xbox, that was the greatest moment of my life. They tend to say not things they received, but experiences they had,
Yeah.
be they positive or negative, they were nonetheless impactful. And as opposed to, as the value system would tell us, and we'll get into that in a minute, as opposed to filling our needs with material things, which have a very selfish kind of bent to them most times, um, having experiences, and again, this is brought into focus in 2020, having experiences, hugging your grandma, are the things that truly make you feel good, give you a sense of purpose, and give you a sense of like pride in yourself and what you have done. So doing something that's selfless, like let's say throwing a party for somebody, or volunteering in a soup kitchen, are actually selfish because you
Yeah.
yourself are benefiting from them and
Mm-hmm.
benefiting more than anything else. So there's the utmost motivation to do selfless acts, because here's the dirty secret: it makes you feel really good.
Yeah, I like the, yeah, thank you for putting the other side of it too. That's so true. It's so true. It's like when you you know, speaking of, you know, Christmas just passing, if you do get lucky enough to buy someone a gift that they really appreciated and needed or wanted, you know, it is a joy, you know, to see someone like, oh my goodness, you know, like, you know, not just, you know, anything, but something they really maybe always wanted, but just wouldn't buy for themselves, something like that.
Mhm.
It's a great feeling.
It is a wonderful feeling. And that is actually a pretty clear cut example. Like, you ever get somebody a gift that they really wanted or really liked? You feel excited before they open it,
Yeah, exactly.
like, oh, they're gonna love this,
Hmm.
and you are that is a positive experience for you also.
It's true. I mean, it could be equal or sometimes even greater than the person receiving it, I
Yeah,
would say.
exactly. Yeah, right. So be selfless because it's actually selfish. That's a cheat code for the universe. The next one I have written down, Mike, and I need you to explain this to me. And I will quote the Honorable Joseph Cortez, a dear friend of the show.
Hmm.
What is the second mountain, Mike?
Oh man, you're gonna stump me on this one. This second mountain I think is after you've climbed uh the success mountain and sort of the Can you help me with this one, Derek? I think I'm gonna screw this up. So
I
I'm gonna
think I
stop
understand it,
myself.
but I okay.
I'm gonna stop myself. Well, I'll do my best, and then you can maybe fix it up a little bit. We'll do some
I,
repair.
I think the second mountain is Roop says Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching. Do you know which teaching he's referring to there, Mike?
No,
Maybe Thich
don't
Nhat Hanh
know.
did the second mountain kind of thing.
It could be.
Um,
Well, yeah, because I mean, for me, I'll just a little bit. For me, the second mountain is sort of like you get to this point in your life where you kind of climbed all the mountains everybody told you to climb, and now you're climbing that second mountain, which is the one that you really should probably be climbing, and it's more of a you thing, a connected thing. And I think I did a bad job of that, but
no,
I'll
but
try.
I think you were correct, man. Or at least that's how I kind of understand it. And it's like w- at before you start climbing the second mountain, I think people will tend to have what's commonly referred to as a midlife crisis.
Yeah, yeah,
Where
that's a
like
good.
particularly in America, the American value system, you're racing to a point and you're doing everything that the external circumstances are telling you to do. Get good grades in high school so you can go to a good college. Get good grades in college so you can have a good job. Work harder at your job so you can get promoted. Roop says selflessness. Um, that's a Thich Nhat Hanh. See, Mike, doesn't it feel great? Thich Nhat Hanh is one of the
That's
greatest
funny.
spiritual teachers of the 20th and 21st century. And yet, we also came up with that idea, okay, Thich Nhat
Yeah,
Hanh? So we'll see
you.
you in court.
Yeah, you know what's so cool? It's like when you and I want to just this is not it's hard when you're going to spiritual things and philosophy and these kind of things. It's hard to get this like concrete proof that a scientist is lucky enough to get in a laboratory. we
Yes,
we don't have that like
difficult to nail
privilege
down.
and that thing we can do. But isn't it nice? How many times, Derek, have we just been in conversations, come up with something like that, and say, "Yeah, isn't that true?" Next thing you know, Socrates. Then like Roop just brought up, someone else has selflessness, and then we've seen it in other places so many times, and it's like that to me. I mean, that's my scientific evidence in the
Right?
spiritual things that what I've been repeating a lot is that the knowing of the heart versus the knowing of the intellect,
Hmm.
and that knowing of the heart is the knowing, and I believe that all those things come from the well of the heart, and that's why the spiritual you can have a sort of idea or a teaching in the spiritual things and in philosophy and in how we look at the world, and it's going to match up because we're going to the same source. That's that source that's already within us, and I think it's beautiful. It's encouraging. It's reassuring. It's beautiful. It just sort of the little thing you need to keep going. It's sort of that little reminder when you bump into another person, and like what Roop did there. Thanks, Roop.
And yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's what we're trying to do in content here is tap into these universal truths, no matter where they are found. Ram Dass's story about the old lady who discovered all the knowledge through the universe by crocheting.
I love that one. I love that. That's so humbling from Ram
It
Dass.
is, man.
This
And
this great spiritual teacher, and he's like, wow,
wow,
you know, how did you come to all this? Oh, I crochet.
I crochet. um, so yeah, the second mountain I think is, um, after, and this is like a typical American story where after you have got the material success, you then still find that there's something sort of hollow about that, and that may well send you into a valley. That may well reveal to you the second mountain, which is the actual inner spiritual work. So if we could just skip to the second mountain, that might be nice. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
But certainly to have a conception that it's not that like you become the manager at work and your life is over or like every moment of your life will be ecstasy after that. There's
It
more work
won't.
to do and it's not out there. It's in your own heart, my friend.
Oh man.
The next one I'd like to bring up, Mike, is something we've talked about a bunch. And this actually came from our quarantine confessions episode back in May, maybe when we did that. But my dear friend Harrison mentioned something that he tells his patients a lot to get one win.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Do you want to say a little bit about that, Mike?
I know. I mean, I just love it. I love the get one win because it's we tend to get if well I say we sometimes, but I'm just really I should just say I. I
I'm just
tend to
talking
get
about how messed up I am.
yeah. It's just a way of masking it. It
Right? You guys all, you feel this way too, right?
you feel this way too, right? I can't be the only one. I no I tend to get overwhelmed and I want to do one thing I'm learning is I'm reading that book about highly sensitive people, and especially for me, I tend to have 1,000 things I want to do at one time.
Me
I
too.
want to I want to write a book. I want to do the podcast. I want to read this book. I'm going crazy,
Hmm.
and I want to spend time with my family. I want to get this. It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
It's just this. I do not have the bandwidth for that.
Me neither.
But what I love about that is just get one win. So if in a day you write a page, if in a day you do something for someone, if in that day, if you can get one win a day, there's 30 days in a month.
That's 30
31,
wins.
31 in some,
Hmm.
29 in others, whatever, 20, whatever, 28. But the point is that there's a bunch of days. There's 365 in a year. That's 365 wins.
Hmm.
So even if you had a bad day, even if you had suffered some terrible loss, you still can get a win.
Hmm.
And I that was one of my favorite jewels that someone dropped on the show.
I totally agree, man. And New Year's resolutions are a good example of a lot of times I think people have, I myself in the past have had, I just did the we thing. You know how everybody's doing this stuff?
Yeah,
Uh,
we,
I'm just talking about me.
aka
You,
me.
you have a you have a New Year's resolution where you want to take like a completely different direction in life, and you want to do something. And I'm going to work out 7 days a week for 3 hours each day. Um, and then
Like I
you
do.
find it like incredibly difficult to achieve. Um, and that's one kind of example. Another example is that like, man, everything in culture is so results oriented and telling you have to climb an enormous mountain today. And that becomes very upsetting, becomes very oppressive and debilitating at times because you think
Yeah,
like, well, God, if I can't do this enormous thing by the end of the week, then it's not even worth doing. Yeah, forget it.
that's the killer right there.
Yeah. And um, the way that things change, if they're going to change at all, is 1 degree at a time and allow time to work in your favor. And a perfect example, Mike, I decided, uh, and I've tried this many times, I just want to learn Spanish. And I downloaded Duolingo like I have done many times before. And I'm just going to do 2 or 3 exercises a day. Is Duolingo the best app to learn? I have no idea. Probably not. Would I be better served if I did 15 exercises every day and devoted 2 hours to it? Yes, but realistically, I don't have the time for that. So I'm just going to do a couple exercises a day for like 4 years. And then hopefully by the end of it, I'll be like, yeah, I got it. But I don't have any delusions of grandeur about like being able to live in Mexico next month. And,
But
and,
that's what why I think it's so hard because it and like so many things we talk about, it's counterculture.
It's like
to
a sort of
just
against the way that
yeah,
things are
it's
were just told to be.
counterculture.
Yeah.
Like what you're describing, it
Yeah,
goes
it's true.
against everything we're taught. Like in collectively, it's like like you said, you've got to climb this mountain today. You've got to. It's just so much, and it can easily overwhelm, and then make you not even climb that mountain.
Of course.
And
Mhm.
it really is a jewel because I love the example you gave of learning Spanish because if you do that, and for anybody out there, it's a great topic right now, because people think of the new year, things they want to do.
Mhm.
If you just do a little bit, it really, I know it's frustrating and it feels like you're not doing anything. Literally, that I've committed to writing something like a week ago, and I'm like super committed to it. And I'm so committed that I'm making sure every day I do a little something. Sometimes I write a sentence
Mhm.
so far. Sometimes I write 3 paragraphs. Sometimes I look at it and I don't do anything. But if I keep doing that, just the way if you keep learning a couple phrases, and it may even here's the thing, what if that is more enjoyable possibly? Maybe that's more enjoyable, maybe it's more fun, it's less pressure. You're still gonna get there. And I remember actually I have a little story that I think can really tie this in. Um I remember when this past summer after being quarantined, we went upstate to the Adirondacks, and I love to hike. I love to be outdoors. I mean, it's probably number one thing I like to do, to be in nature. It's like an automatic for me. All of a sudden, I feel fine. Um, so I was so excited climbing this really big climb, maybe one of the highest peaks I've ever climbed, that I just went nuts. I went in front of the family. Usually, I'm the last one, and when I got there, I got sick. I really got sick. I
Those
could
peaks are
hardly
high up in
breathe,
the Adirondack.
and then the air is thinner. The combination of everything, I got sick.
Mhm.
And after I got sick, I felt better, and and everything. But the point is, I would have. That's why I feel like it ties to this. If climbing that mountain, if I would have just enjoyed it, if I would have just been like I usually do, I stay behind to keep, in case someone falls behind or something. Little by little, I really think I would have enjoyed it much more. I would have got there. I wouldn't have got sick. I probably wouldn't have, and on and on and on. And it's just a great lesson for us.
And that's a good point too, Mike, that actually one win at a time, given that time goes by so fast, especially with each passing year as you get older. I cannot believe um, I am 98 years old, and I can't believe how much time has gone by. I honestly though, I really feel like I'm in a wind tunnel of time. It's just flying by. And if you focus on one win at a time, it's a way to savor life. It's a way to savor the wins, and that's how they ultimately become more impactful. Is when you really have time to consider them and
Hmm.
honestly enjoy them. They can really be integrated into your person. Um, and it's more enjoyable that way. It's just
For sure.
easier, and you can
It
really
is.
root around in that one win as opposed to like,
Absolutely.
well, today I got 20 wins, but the next 3 days
And
I got nothing, and then
yeah, because you're
then I got
recovering.
six, and then I
You're
Mhm.
recovering.
Yeah, right.
Like I was up there, at the top of the mountain. Like, oh,
Exactly. Sometimes
I'm
you have too
okay.
many
I'm
wins
okay. I'm
and you're
like, oh,
puking.
I'm fine. I'm all right. I feel better now. So I think we got a nice comment here. It's
Yeah, Anna
from
Marguerite
Anna.
jumped in here. That's why, as hard as it is as a society, one should stop letting norms dictate where the milestones are. Oh, God, love that. The sooner one understands that any progress is
That's
progress,
good. I like that.
and they will always be a work in progress. Let quote life or quote God or whatever is in control dictate where one should be and appreciate the small steps of success as
Oh,
they
that's the
come.
key.
She adds, the sooner happiness can be found, happiness with oneself.
Oh man,
Well,
we needed a bomb for that.
I know. Where's the
Oh,
sound
you know what?
effect?
Next year I have to get the bomb sound
We got to get the
effects
sound effects
because
going.
when these quotes happen, that's it. That's it. And I love the ending with oneself.
Precisely. That's
There
it
it
right
is.
there.
And then you're happy with yourself. That's your lens that you see yourself through. And then when you pick that lens up and you look at the rest of the world, you're gonna love them too.
That's it, man.
That's it.
Yeah, the love goggles.
Love goggles. Yeah. Hey, there we go. That's
We got
ours.
new
That's ours.
terms.
I'm copywriting that right now on the air. Love
You
goggles.
can now buy the love goggles for 3 easy payments of $29.99.
They'll help. They'll help. Oh God, that's so funny. It's reminding me of all those wild preachers who will be like, buy this cloth. You know,
Jesus
don't.
sneezed in this
Yeah,
rag.
gee, yeah. This cloth here. If you put this in your house, everything's fine.
But that is a nice wrapping of a number of things we've just talked about, Mike. That
Yeah.
let life or the universe or God be in control and dictate where you should be, and then just appreciate the small steps of success as they come. So as you get the one win, given that we control so little, but we do control ourselves.
Yes.
And if we can use that, wield that to get one win in a day, that is, I mean, universally incredibly unlikely, quite difficult no matter what the win is. And if you get a win a day for 2 years, that's
Oh man.
700 wins. That's enough to put
And
you in the championship no matter what sport
yeah.
you're playing, Mike. Okay.
And you won't puke. You won't puke.
You won't, yes, you will simply keep a solid stomach throughout that. Um, Here's another legendary season one content episode, as far as I'm concerned, Mike, which is why would you tell me why we need the devil?
Oh yeah.
It makes no sense, Mike.
It's,
He's
it's the
bad. I don't
it's
like him.
it's the
He's got
yin
the horns and the
yang.
pitchfork. I
It
want to get rid of it. Why
I
would that be
know.
good? Why would we need that?
It's the yin yang. It's just there. You need evil for good. You need darkness for light. You know you need the bad guy for the good guy. It's just all there. And it says balance. That's it.
That's it.
We can't balance if there's not both of the things to put on the scale. And
That's right.
we all have we've discussed this. Me and Derek at least are on the side of that. We're all good, you know, innately, and it's the hurt that exists when people hurt people that is the springboard to what we know as evil, because then they continue to hurt people because they're hurt, and that's the lens that they're looking through. And we do without that. And I go back to Watts a little bit on this, because that's sort of the game of life that he talks about. This play between good, evil, the roles we play. I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to be the good guy. But then the good guy always seems to win. That's sort of the way that we play everything. Even in world affairs, there's this tyrant that comes in. He just does these horrible atrocities, and he just seems like he's about to win. And then good overcomes it. It's this nonstop story that keeps repeating itself. And I think it repeats itself because we do need that. And it's crazy. And we need it in so many ways, because and it's horrible to say this, but there was that, for example, and I'm not saying this with all due respect to all parties involved, because it broke my heart. There was an incident in Yonkers where 5 people died. It was a terrible car accident. 4 innocent kids who just graduated high school all lost their lives.
Damn.
And as heartbreaking as that is, I'm not saying it's needed in sense of evil, because if we could do away with that, but such a tragedy does spark, and we if we're gonna be honest, it does spark an appreciation for life. Like, as my heart drops as I talk about it, it makes me more grateful just to be here, and just to it's I know it's horrible, and it's just how it's I'm wired, and how I think a lot
And
of us are.
and that's like you said, Mike, that's the yin and the yang, is that in tremendous darkness there will be a drop of light.
Yeah.
Um, another example I would use is after 9/11,
Yeah, that was a
a
time like
tremendous
that.
tragedy. But did you ever see more American flags than after 9/11?
And
Did you ever see more people speaking out, we are our fellow countrymen,
well,
we
I
need to
never saw
stand
the people
together?
in New York nicer.
Exactly.
Never.
And so an interesting angle to come at this, because that's why if you look at a yin yang, there's the dark side and there's a little white circle in there. And similarly, on the white side, there's a little dark circle in there. That these things are interlinked.
They so are.
That
The
food
whole
wouldn't
thing.
taste so good if you weren't really hungry sometimes. Pleasure and pain are the two sides of one coin. And if you keep running away, denying that the devil exists, running away from pain, coddling yourself from any stress or any difficulty,
Yeah.
is the quickest and surest way to invite the devil into your life.
Sure is.
If you put fear on top of fear on top of fear, running away won't deal with it. Marcus Aurelius would say a fugitive from the things you have to deal with. That is the quickest way to let the devil right in the front door, man.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the Buddha's first realization is all life involves suffering. If you are under the impression that you can have every moment of your life be completely positive, you will find that life is incredibly difficult. If you reckon with the notion that life can be positive and negative at any moment, you are then at a much more solid ground with which to react and interact with the world. And truly, like we said at the top of the show, and again, we will get to our all a cappella songs. We we have not forgotten about that. But harmonizing with the positive, the negative, the happiness and the sorrow. And in doing so, again, kind of back to Pema Chodron also, that
Hopeless.
knowing that there is negativity in the world and saying, I understand that, allows you to truly appreciate when positivity is around.
Yeah. And I dare say, one of the things that I keep bumping into when I think about spiritual things and a lot of stuff we talk about in philosophy and everything is a lot of it is just being honest with
Yeah,
yourself.
I know, which is hard. It's
It's just like
surprisingly hard.
what you just described is its essence is just being completely honest about things
Yes.
with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a feeling you gonna bring up the two wolves at any point?
Wow, Mike.
Because here we go, revelation through
Can I
conversation.
just, like, what's that last one?
Two wolves. All right, good. Because
It
Adam,
was
I,
next.
I don't want to mess up your
I'm getting
order
freaked out now all of a
because
sudden, man.
Anna also knew innately that we were going to talk about the two wolves.
We as humans are capable of being good or evil. It all depends on which side we feed. Mike, wow. What a moment we just
Anna
had here,
says yes.
folks.
So okay, revelation through conversation, and this is what we talk about. Me and Derek, we believe in synchronicity. I think it's safe to say, right?
Without question.
I'm not throwing that into your mouth over here.
I read Carl Jung's whole book on it. I
Okay.
understood very little of it, but I found it to be very important.
But you highlighted two sentences and they stuck with you.
That's correct.
I do the same. So yeah, and here we go. And I really do believe in revelation through conversation. I do believe in oneness. I do believe that we certainly lie to ourselves and are dishonest when we think that we're in charge of anything and that we are alone. Yeah, anybody out there, I know this is a difficult season for some, depending on where you are and what season you're in, and you're not alone. It's a lie. It is illogical. It makes zero sense. You are in no way alone. You're connected to people. There are people out there who care about you. It is a complete lie. You just have to sit there and be honest with yourself. You're not alone. You're connected. Everything you do or you've done has affected other people. Everyone around you, their actions, their thoughts, their behaviors have affected you. You form your own personality as a reflection of the people around you. If you hang out with someone long enough, you'll start to talk like them. You're not alone. You're so connected. You're connected to me. You're connected to Derek. You're connected to Anna. We're It's a lie. And I would, if you believe in the devil, it's a lie from the devil. If you believe in whatever you believe in, I don't care, the yin and the yang, it's a lie from whatever darkness. It's just not true. You're not alone. And if if anyone needed to hear that, I would just always think it's important whenever we stumble onto that realm to just say that. So
I think
back
so
to
too,
the
man.
the two
And also,
wolves.
I honestly, during quarantine, um, if someone is feeling lonely,
Hmm.
uh, reach out to one person.
Oh yeah,
And because this has been a very isolated time, I have found people that I have reached out to are more communicative than ever
that's a good one.
because everybody's looking for somebody to talk to.
Yeah, I've been talking
I
to my brother, and me hardly had a relationship our whole lives. All of a
mhm,
sudden, we talk.
right?
He's not even mean to me anymore.
Well, that's great,
It's
man.
cool. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty damn happy about it. The big brother's always beating up on the little one, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and it says choose wisely though. Yeah, amen. True. No, it's very
Okay, fair.
true.
That's true.
Fair.
Hey, discerning wisdom, as Thich
That's
Nhat Hanh would say.
that's some honesty.
So, what are these two wolves, Mike? What's the two wolves? What's that mean?
The two wolves are who you feed one or the other. It's the cartoon, the good angel, the bad angel.
That's right.
It's
Bugs Bunny
it's
was very,
yep.
very wise.
Yes, Bug Bunny was preaching, and that's what it is. Damn it, it's just that simple. It's and who you're gonna feed when the bad one comes on and he's saying, you're no good, you're this and you're that. You're gonna feed that, and you're gonna say, yeah, you're right, I'm no good. Yeah, you're right, this, that, and that. Or if it's dwelling on something too much, you know, uh, you're gonna feed that, or you're gonna feed the other one who's saying, yeah, that happened, and we can move on from that. That this is something you learn from it. You're gonna spin it and then put it into a positive motion. And who you're gonna feed? Who you gonna listen to? Are you gonna listen to a if you're obviously if you're listening to this, you're in some type of a way a spiritual seeker. Are you going to listen to spiritual teachers who condemn you, who tell you you're no good, you're horrible? That's feeding the bad wolf. You're worthless. You're good for nothing. Yet God decided to love you even though you're a piece of junk. You know, are you
Ouch.
are you going to listen to those guys, or are you going to listen to the more grace-filled messages? Are you going to listen to teachers who are trying to help you, who are trying to point you in a good direction to think something good? And that's which wolf you're going to feed. That's the discernment, and you can tell. You can tell. It's intuitive if you just listen to yourself.
Hmm.
There's something I came up with. I'm sure somebody else said. We could, and it was in a joking way. I said it. We could learn a lot from ourselves if we'd only listen.
Well said,
and,
man.
and I think it's damn true.
Isn't it so often happen that you come up with something that you yourself think is like quite profound or like
Yeah.
impactful, and then you just completely forget about it?
Oh.
I'm
Yeah.
doing that constantly, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's still, just like earlier, but it confirms, we're on a path, we're on something, we're
True.
discovering the same truths, and we can't prove it in a laboratory, but I think that's pretty. When I say something, or Derek says something, or someone out there says something in the comments, and it just resonates, and you're like, yeah, or how about when you hear one of these quotes? This is why I love quotes so much like this
Me
of
too.
spiritual truth, because a lot of times they're expressing into because language is so limited. It's so hard to express what's in my heart.
Yes.
And when someone puts that into language and I say, yes, that's what I've been feeling my whole life, but I never could articulate it. And
Hmm.
that's to me, that's proof.
Yeah, right.
That's the proof. That's our laboratory, our heart, you
Hmm.
know? So
Anna's got another comment here. Because we all have those in our lives that will try to feed that negativity. True. Everybody at the workplace. Come on, folks.
oh man, got them everywhere. Even on the news.
On the
If you
news,
listen, if you
especially.
they're somewhere.
Again, Wolf Blitzer dying to be on content content. We'll never allow it. I'll never allow it. He keeps texting me. I'm like, leave me alone. You're a grown man. Your name is Wolf. Others, everyone. Let me take it from the beginning, because we all have those in our lives that will try to feed that negativity. Others will try to feed that positivity. Make sure when you need to talk that it's someone that's going to bring/breathe something positive into your situation. And this kind of goes back to make sure to have the wisdom to know the difference. That's a big one. Sometimes it's difficult to have the little
Yeah,
bit of
to know.
separation between you and your own mind to be like, oh, is this blah? But yeah, I mean, that's a great point. That's a great point. And let's say, with regard to discerning wisdom, let me bring up the final concept that I would like to throw at you, Mike. And there are sort of two sides to it because it was a big thread throughout the show. Last week, we had discussed this idea of being okay with being the 1 in 50 who disagrees, the
Oh
1
yeah.
in 500 who disagrees, the 1 in 5,000 who thinks
Mm-hmm.
differently. And we have ground this point down to the singular word, which is paint. Can you tell me what that means, Mike?
Oh God, I sure can. Probably. Thanks for leaving it for last. This is my favorite, probably.
I think so.
Um,
Me too.
Painting and the one in man. That's a good connection too, Derek. Painting and the 1 in 5,000. They're
Hmm.
they're they're brother and sister.
Hmm.
They're so closely related. Painting is doing that thing that's deep within you that you've always wanted to do that you think other people won't accept you for because it's just so you. It's just so damn. It's not the you, you know, it's not the you that you created to grow up in your family. It's not the you that you created to be successful in whatever enterprise that you set out on to be a breadwinner in this world. It's not the you that you created to fit in with your friends. It's the you before everyone got into you and molded you like clay. And you had to be that to survive. And that's the painter that we talk about. That's the one inside you who's going to be the 1 in 5,000. That's the you, the deep you that if you dig in enough, you'll come to find. And man, that's such a core of what I've learned this year. That is such a core. And if we can impart that beautiful feeling, and I don't want to speak for you, Derek, jump in if I'm not saying this the right way, but
I think you're spot on, man.
I'm gonna say content is me and Derek painting.
Without question.
And it is, I'll tell you guys, we started this show and we didn't know what the hell it was gonna happen. Because we went to lunch, we had great lunches. No one likes to talk about this stuff. Me and Derek were just so excited that we had found someone to talk about this stuff with. We always walked away from our lunches feeling better about life, being encouraged, learning something, having something to think about. And this was before, this is not a quarantine podcast. Right before the quarantine, we started it, and something we wanted to do because it was our painting. And it was something that in my life, most of the time, nobody wanted to hear me talk this stuff. I mean, for God's sakes, I was in a cult who they wanted me to shut my damn mouth so bad. Um, that's all they wanted me to do, just shut the hell up about anything outside of what they were saying. And damn, it feels good to paint.
It does. That's a great point, Mike. That's what this show that's what this show is for us. And something we mentioned on the show before too is like jump and the net will appear.
Mm.
Because we didn't exactly know what this show would be or become. We still don't, but we have a better idea than we did before. And our one win was, I don't know, just doing an episode that
Yeah.
week and seeing what happens. And already it's found more form than it had before. It's found more of an audience than it had before. Did we have gaffes and goofs along the way? Certainly, of course. I forgot to record this thing. This microphone didn't
Oh
work.
yeah.
This background was
Sure.
weird. The internet connection. I was in the park for 2 weeks with a bad connection,
But we kept going.
but we kept going.
One sentence, one word at a time.
One word, one win at a time. And that's what painting is. If you feel intuitively in your heart you would like to do something or be something, And, maybe it's just people have fleeting thoughts. Okay, that's fine. But if it's something that continues to knock at the door of your mind,
Yeah.
you gotta do it, man,
You
because life is
gotta.
so dang short anyway. Even if it's difficult, well, okay, you don't have to do it all today. Get that one win towards that painting. And of course, painting, the original example, of course, was the middle-aged man who is married, has 2 kids, and he just wants to paint. And of course, everything in the American value system is telling, well, nobody's going to buy your painting, so it's not worth it. But
Yeah.
money has nothing to do with creating art of any sort.
No, it doesn't. And the truth is, when you truly paint, and I've had to challenge myself on this. I'm I'm several times me and Derek have our little talks, out. We still have lunch,
That's
right?
true.
And when we have our lunches now, sometimes we're talking about the show and stuff. We talk about everything, but sometimes we're talking about the show, and I've had to catch myself and say, well, you know what? And Derek will check me sometimes because I do have this little ambition kid inside me from since I was little.
You've
You
always
know,
been ambitious, Mike.
I've always had a little ambition guy in me,
Hmm.
and sometimes I have to check him at the door because we'll be talking and I'll say, but you know what, Derek? If I really believe in what we're talking about, if I really do believe in painting and that it's going to go where it needs to go, and wherever it goes, it's where it's supposed to go. Like if I do believe in that, trusting in God and the universe and purpose, then I need to let this take its course and I need to take my hands off it a little. I need to do what I can, but for that big idea or that big moment that may or may not take it into another what we call another level, in society, I need to trust. And I need to let the process be the process. I need to not run up that mountain and get sick when I get to the top like I did in the music business. And I have to check that ambition at the door. And I've learned that, and
And
it's
that
beautiful.
correlates to the one win thing to me also. It's
One
also
win.
just like take
Yeah.
one step.
And
Because
enjoy it.
did you ever see anybody who took a step that was 10 steps at
Yeah.
once?
And
It's like a Zen koan. It's like,
and to
what's the
get
sound of
into
one hand clapping?
w-
It just can't be.
one of those generic spiritual principles that can get like, oh, okay. Uh the joy is in the journey.
I mean, come on,
Damn it,
man.
it is. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like, oh, the joy is in the journey. Yeah, okay, Mike.
Right,
Nice
sure, sure.
Mohawk. See you later. You know? Yeah, I get that. I get it, man. But it's damn it, it's true. I'm sorry. I'm
It's
sorry.
true.
And
Sorry.
and we've got I think Anna's got some good stuff.
Go to
So
the one above that too. I think, yeah, there we go. The crazy thing is that in church, we refer to God as a potter, and we are his clay. Only God or whoever one believes in that decides who the us is truly
yeah.
supposed to be.
Oh
So when you
God.
said painting is the you, that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
Basically, who we were meant to be from moment of creation, but have strayed because of outside influence.
Damn, man, are you killing us today?
I know,
Bomb.
and it's got some great ones.
Bomb,
And
bomb, bomb that.
that is what
Whew.
happens to most folks, certainly
Man.
in modern America, is you allow the outside
Yeah.
influences to completely dictate who you are and how you feel.
Yeah.
And I don't fault anybody for doing that because there's overwhelming pressure every moment of every day to do that. Um, and
Oh
again,
man.
when you say like, "Well, I want to be somebody different," it seems like an enormous mountain to climb and an impossible one. And when you are when you're trying to climb a mountain and you're only ever looking at how high the tip of the mountain is, it's so scary the whole time. Um, but taking one step, having one win, and trusting yourself over time, things will happen for you.
Oh man, she hit the spot with that one though.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
I'm basically what I said I'm writing is it's basically about that. So talk about
Yeah.
synchronicity. It's so important to listen to that still small voice within you.
Mhm.
It is so important, because in a church, God is just code for the pastor sometimes. And it's just, that's all it is. And we've really got to get outside of that box.
Yeah.
We've really got to let God speak to us. We've really got to trust. not in a system. Not don't downplay yourself and say, "Well, I don't understand what they're talking about and so I'll just do what they say." No. No, you know deep within you in your heart there's a heart math, there's something in there that makes sense and you know it. And anybody in a situation like that who's being told who they are, what to think, and there's something in you that's saying, you know what, I don't know about that, but then you'll because you're going to be humble about it and you're going to say, even though it doesn't make sense to me, I don't get it. Well, maybe they do, and they really understand spiritual things, and I'm just a nitwit and a dummy, so I'll just trust them. No, you're not a nitwit. You're not a dummy. You probably, the fact that they're up there acting like they know everything is your discernment to know to get the hell out of there and run. If you meet anybody who's got it all figured out and who's that's the soapbox they're standing on,
You got
hi,
it.
I
You
got it
got
all
it.
figured out. This is this is that. Because let me tell you something. There's a million interpretations
Mm-hmm.
of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna beat up the Bible on that one.
Mm-mm.
There's a million interpretations of everything.
Right.
There's a million scientists who believe different things. And there's a million religious people who believe different things, and there's even people in the cult where there's 100 people in the cult, and all 100 of them don't even believe the same damn thing, but
Mm-hmm.
they've decided to trust in the guru, the leader, the narcissist. So,
And it speaks to how individualized the spiritual path is.
amen.
And there are, of course, principles that can be
Mm-hmm.
sort of universally applied.
Yeah. And
But
then can I just add to that real briefly?
go right ahead, sir.
That reminds me of the gospel according to Matthew, the gospel according to Mark, the gospel according to John.
The
The
notable word there, according to.
according to.
We're
And
not
if
saying this is universal. We're just
and
saying this
there's
is what this guy
yeah,
said.
and even in the New Testament, there's the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And then there's John, who came later, who had his own theology, which I happen to love. It's my favorite one. Who came and he put a spin on all that.
Mm-hmm.
So they even say that Matthew, Mark, and Luke were sourced from a certain text, and John went further, and he was the developer of probably one of the early theologies along with Paul. And so it's according to. Let's
That's
not
great.
forget that. Let's not forget that. And here's some blasphemy for you. Whatever I got, it's the gospel according. I'm just gonna be honest. It's the gospel according to Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being honest. It's not
Yeah.
and that's the thing. So often we confuse blasphemy for an honest spiritual search.
It's
Just
true.
being honest. You know, even the people who recorded that gospel, they were still, even though it got taken over by Constantine, even though King James was the one who put it on the text and published it, and these are people who wanted to control the masses, they still left that
Mm.
according to.
Right.
Something
They
to
could.
think about.
Why
Just
did, in
saying.
retrospect, why did they not say this is what it? This is the official book
Exactly.
of Matthew.
Even they said
Just
who could have
according
changed
to
things around.
what he was saying.
This is according to this guy.
So, to any content listener, viewer, any person in any walk of life, what is the gospel according to you?
Yeah.
Because to
Oh, the
you, that is.
blasphemy, Derek.
Well, we do like to be blasphemous on content content.
We're just a couple of heretics.
Well, Mike, I think that's a decent place to leave it. I would like to say that 2020 was an incredibly unique year, but I am tremendously, very, 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 very thankful for any and everyone who listened or watched any portion of any episode of content.
Oh yeah.
In 2021, I think we have a lot of exciting things lined up. We will be adding the Wednesday show. content late night, dare I say. By late night, I mean about 7 p.m. because relative to 8
Yeah,
a.m., that is
yeah.
much, much later.
And we do have 5 confirmed.
5 confirmed.
Confirmed,
Yes.
ready to go, starting January 6th, every 2 weeks. And we're gonna have some fillers in between that Derek is going to do.
That's right. You can hang out with me every other Wednesday.
And we're gonna get to see the other side of Derek, which is his comedic side, which pops up here plenty.
True.
But we're gonna get see that side a little bit too, which is gonna be exciting.
We're going to dig into the comedy scene a little bit, see what some of those folks have to say. We're going to hopefully get some religious professionals of some sort from various diverse backgrounds to
Yep.
see what they have to say about the type of crazy stuff that we talk about. So that'll be exciting. If you want to join the super secret, super private, but anybody can join content private Facebook
Yeah.
group, we will be doing more room
Yeah,
chats in
that
there.
was great. So room, for anybody who doesn't know, it's a room. You make it on Facebook. You guys can all join. You're in video. You're live. Don't be like Jose and hide your video.
Hey, no, I say anybody
We'd
can
love to see
engage.
you.
We love,
We want to
Mike, I've
hear
always
from
said,
you.
if you listen to content, you're good looking. It's just, I mean, we've done the research. We've
Just
done
it's
extensive research.
automatic.
You're a beautiful, beautiful person. We would love to see your face.
Yes.
But, hey, say they're driving, which I guess you shouldn't be talking on the phone and driving anyway. But, you can engage with content to the extent that you feel comfortable. You can take one step at a time, dare I say. But we'd like to see, yeah, sure, we'd like to see it. But more importantly, we'd like to hear what you got to say.
And if anyone does want to see how Jose looks, they have their show going on right now after hours, which is Courage to Continue. And I guess I don't have the link here, but Courage to Continue is the name of their show, and it's on now on their Facebook pages.
That's right. They're the David Letterman to our Johnny Carson, so to speak.
Yes, they're the like extension of the series, I guess.
That's right. They're in the content universe.
Yep.
But seriously, this has been a crazy year. But we have built a little bit of a snowball that is a content community, and thank you everyone to contributing and being part of it. And I really do think, like I said last week, you can listen to a podcast or watch a television show to hear experts talk about things. I certainly do that and learn things. And I certainly hope that certain things resonate with certain people. But we are discussing the very nature of existence here on content. And a lot of people, most everyone, has a pretty strong opinion on that. And we would love to hear it. The more raw ingredients we can put into the sausage machine that is the wisdom maker of content, the more we can strive towards universal truth, which is timeless. Whether it be Socrates or an old grandma crocheting today, there is tremendous wisdom to be found in any and everywhere in between those things. And mostly, as we've always maintained, Mike, we don't have anything figured out. We're just trying to talk about this stuff so that hopefully some of it will stick in our own heads. And if that is helpful to anyone else, come on in, because the water's just fine.
Yep. And I'd just like to add a little bit to that. Super, super thank you. I'm so grateful that absolutely anyone got into this crazy conversation with us.
Agreed.
Because we were worried, and we were like, it was hard enough to find one person. I'm 46 years old. So it took me 46 years to find one person I could chat with this stuff about. Now, the audacity that I actually thought I was going to go online and find people that would actually connect with what we're talking about, I thought was just crazy.
Pretty nuts.
But they're out there. And there's a lot of people seeking, and there's a lot of people who think in these terms. And I'm so grateful for that. It's been a difficult year, but this is our silver lining. And I'm just happy that I can even think of something good that came out of 2020 like that, And
I agree, man.
Very encouraging, and like Derek said, man, super, super, super thankful for all of you guys. And please join the Facebook group, because you know what? You can also post things, like Yvonne has been posting some great stuff.
I know Giovanna has been killing it in the group.
And also, guys, I'm still I think it was Emily that put up the Eve, right? Wandering
so.
Eden.
Yes, Eden. Yeah.
Eden. Yes, Eden. Yeah. I got lost there for a second. But man, that poem she put up.
So good.
And just please, guys, and Apollo, he just wrote
I know.
that thing went viral.
Did it?
Do you know that? I mean, it's been shared. It's like who knows how many tens of thousands of people have shared that.
Really?
What he wrote. And that was a jewel. That was somebody from our group. Super great writer, Apollo, and someone we've had on the show. And if you haven't checked that out, please, we've posted it, and it connected with me a lot because it reminded me of my cult experience, and it was just wonderful. But Giolani, it's too. But you look at this. Wait, listen, we're gonna call you out here. Look, Giolani, we replay it. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify.
It's on YouTube.
It's too early maybe to be here with us. I agree with that.
Okay. That's
okay.
okay.
But man, you can still hear it later, man. You can still hear it, man. It's recorded. As soon as this finishes, it's there.
You can scroll through. You can watch it whenever you like.
And Happy New Year to you, bro. Love you, man. We're out.
Happy New Year.